What's up guys, it's Chuck from Brady Adventures, and today we're going to do a walk around of our Dissent off-road rear bumper. Alright guys, so this is it. Our Dissent off-road bumper is finally installed. It's been a long time coming. We had a lot of challenges along the way, and I wanted to just walk through kind of some of the different features of the bumper and some of the things I ran into while I was installing it. If you guys enjoy the video, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for alerts. Let us know if you have any questions or comments about our Dissent off-road rear bumper or anything else we got going on with our 100 Series Land Cruiser, and thanks a lot for watching. One of the things that's really cool about this bumper is the latching mechanism that keeps the swing outs closed. Each swing out has this latch, and you need to push the bumper forward just a tiny bit and then pull the latch and it swings open. There is a bump stop right here that actually puts some positive pressure against the swing out, and you have to adjust that a little bit when you do the installation. That keeps this little latching mechanism right here seated down in this stainless steel plate. The plate right here allows this rubber bumper under here to slide up onto here so that not all the weight is on the spindle when you have your swing outs closed up. One of the great things that you get when you install one of these bumpers is a lot of extra ground clearance and a much better departure angle. You also get that spare tire underneath, which hangs down pretty far out from under there, and if you're running a larger tire, you're going to have a hard time getting it up in there between the rear axle and the rear cross member. Each side of the main bumper is secured by a series of pretty large bolts, some of which mount directly into the frame rail, and some mount to a bracket that is also mounted through the frame rail. It does require you to drill one hole through the frame. Both sides, these are independent sides of the bumper, come together here with a bracket that is bolted on, bolts up top, 2 through here, and 4 down here on the bottom, and there is a piece of steel on the back that sandwich these two together. 2 of these bolts go through the rear cross member, and 2 of them actually go into some capture nuts that are mounted, that are welded inside the cross member. The bumper also has 2 recovery points, 1 on each side. They're rounded, so if you want to use a soft shackle, it's no problem. There's no sharp edges on there. There's a space for these rear lights, and the rear lights, they weren't a common brand that I knew, but they seem to be pretty high quality. They're very, very bright. I wired them into my switch panel that's up in my dash. The kit also comes with a 9-pin trailer connection. This actually gave me a little bit of trouble because one of the wires in the Toyota harness is different than the standard wiring. I don't know if it's common on all Toyotas, but I have heard of other people having that problem. So when you're wiring that up, you want to make sure that you're testing each of those wires and you're getting them correct before you have it all shrink wrapped and everything. The main bumper also has this hitch receiver. It's not rated, however, I have seen some people towing some pretty hefty stuff, and this is definitely over-engineered with all the bolts and everything mounted to that main rear cross member, so I imagine it can hold quite a bit, and it really, everything on here is super stout, super strong. And as you saw in some of my early unboxing videos, all the exposed welds are just really, really beautiful. Stuff is terrible. Raging Eagle Mango. Each swing out has a strut. It's a 150-pound strut. When you don't have the bump stops on here, it's easy to take it on and off. And then once you have the bump stops on, it actually compresses it a little bit. So the 2 bump stops, one right here, will contact back here, and that'll put the positive pressure to help the latch engage. The other bump stop back on this side, right here, and this actually is going to press up against here and keep your swing out from overextending, and it also provides a little cushion. Each swing out has 2 grease zerks, one at the bottom and one at the top. That's really, really handy to be able to keep this thing moving smooth, and they really do move smooth. One of the slightly challenging things when I was installing it was trying to decide how tight to tighten this spindle. So inside the spindle there's some bearings and a shaft, and there is a nut that's mounted inside the bumper, and then you tighten this down, and you have to tighten this just enough to load the bearings and to keep the spindle from shifting. And so when I had originally tightened it and then got some weight on it, they were moving a little, so we had to play around and tighten them to where they were just right, and so they were holding everything. And this also, how you tighten this and position it will determine how easily it is going to ride up onto this plate right here. We had to play with it a little bit. This one ended up, first time, working really, really nicely, where it just closes up easily onto there. But the other side with the tire, we had to work with it a little bit. It was a lot more pressure pushing up onto here, but we were able to lift up that arm and get the spindle tightened to the point where it rides up there pretty easily. Let's see. There's a few different options for swing outs. Of course, you have the option of the tire carrier, which is something most people are going to get. And then Ben also has an array of other things, but the two main ones to choose from are this simple tray or a tray that's specifically designed for jerry cans. It has higher sides and a back to hold those in, and it can hold 3 jerry cans. This tray, I was hoping I was going to be able to store my Yeti 45 cooler on here, and it is literally a 1/2 inch too narrow. I thought about asking Ben to see if maybe he could custom make me one that's slightly bigger so that I could carry the Yeti on here. But I'm not too worried about it, because my main purpose for this tray was to install a mount for my Q grill so I could take my Q grill with me. Having the Q grill and the Coleman stove while you're out camping is pretty awesome. The other cool thing about this swing out is it has a secondary receiver hitch. Anything you can think of you can mount onto this. A lot of people put different bike racks on here. Once you install this bumper, your rear camera on your Land Cruiser is not going to work very well. The video is very obstructed, and now that I have all this thing, when I have it totally loaded up, I really wanted to be able to see behind the truck. So I also installed this rear-facing camera so that I could see where I was going. This hooks in through Wi-Fi. I'll be doing a separate video on this, but I'll definitely put links in the description to that. We also have a light so that you could light up your license plate. I think most people would mount it on the top, but I couldn't with this camera, so it seems to be working out pretty good the way that it is. The rear tire swing out was a pretty involved installation process. There are an enormous number of nuts and bolts and things going on here. Putting this whole thing together took a little bit longer than some of the other things. Something that's going to save you a lot of time is making sure that you lay out all the nuts and bolts and are 100% sure where everything's going before you get to bolting things together. One really cool thing about this tire carrier is totally adjustable. You can move this in and out. You can angle it in different ways. If you have a bigger tire, or you want it to be a certain way, or you're mounting other things on here, you really have a lot of flexibility in terms of how you mount this. There is also a high lift jack mount that bolts right into here and holds a high lift jack here, but I have not installed that yet. One of the things that I really, really liked was this rear table. It's a really cool little rear table. You just turn this little grommet here, you fold it up, little bracket that comes out, and then you got a place to put your beer. I love the idea of this. I've seen it in a bunch of pictures. Super excited to have another workspace or a place to just set my drink. There is one big problem with this when it comes to the 100 series, is that once that table's open, you cannot fold down your tailgate. You wouldn't think that that's a total issue, because you could always put your tailgate down first and then open the table, but you can't do that either. So that's one thing that I think surprises some people. I've gone through a few different ideas of how to make this work. A couple ideas that I have is either to trim the table right here so that I can open it when the tailgate's down, or trim the table right here. What do you think about trimming it here, though?
I think if you just get some pins, and you could quickly
replace these bolts with some cotter pins. You can pop the pins out, take the table off, open it up, put the cotter pins in, and then the table's there. I think it's worth a try. That was pretty discouraging because I was so excited about this table, but honestly, it is what it is, and it really is a nice addition. Most bumpers like this don't have something like this. This bumper is heavy. Before I put the bumper on, I had Old Man Emu 2860 springs, and I recently upgraded to 2864. When I put this bumper on, it made the truck sit about 3/4 of an inch lower, maybe a little closer to an inch lower, but I could definitely feel the weight in the back. I could feel the truck squatting around corners and things like that. Once I put the 2864s on, the truck got its height back. It's riding a lot better. So if you're going to put one of these bumpers on, you're definitely going to want to upgrade your springs to some of the heavies. Okay, so at the end of the day, is this bumper worth it? Absolutely, it's worth it. If you're considering a rear bumper for your 100 Series Land Cruiser, I highly recommend you check out Dissent Off-Road. Their rear bumpers are absolutely beautiful. They're works of art. They're functional and have a lot of really, really cool features. Keep an eye out for some of our upcoming videos. We're releasing a lot of different videos on the bumper about our wiring, installation, and different things at different times. So those will all be coming if they're not already posted. Hey guys, if you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell for alerts. Let us know if you have any questions about our Dissent Off-Road bumper or anything we got going on with our 100 Series Land Cruiser. Special thanks to my kids, Brennan and Mackenzie, and my good friend Melissa for helping me with this installation, giving me ideas along the way, helping me overcome different problems. They were very, very helpful. So thanks to them and all their support, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. What, am I just sipping some of it?
Take a sip of courage.
If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel. And always feel free to leave us any comments or questions that you might have.